Guys, today we're going to talk about tips for developing emotional agility. Maybe wearing your heart on your sleeve is not always a bad thing.
True.
Today we're going to talk about it and how you can begin to live in a really authentic way in your emotions as an entrepreneur. That's coming up. Welcome to the Bite Size Marketing Hack Podcast, where you get the confidence to hack your marketing 5 minutes at a time.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Rashawn.
And Mark.
Today we're going to talk about emotional problems. How to develop emotional agility. This is really timely because as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you can oftentimes find yourself and your emotions going wazoo. You can't control them.
Yeah.
You're trying to navigate through some of the toughest decisions, one with business, two with life. 3, with what you gonna eat today, all types of things.
Yeah.
How do we navigate through emotionally, Mark?
Yeah, we're told from very little that the world is a hard place, and then oftentimes the sort of map that we're given to navigate through that is you just gotta hide what you're really feeling, push forward, and you can only trust a few people with what's really going on with you, so just hide it.
Yeah,
And you know, there's some truth to you can't always talk about everything with everyone. A friend of mine says it this way that I think is a really helpful way to dial in. He says, you know, you can't bleed on everybody, but you can let them see you bleed.
Wow, that's good.
And I think it's really important that we be able to live in such a way that we're not like just getting all of our stuff on everybody, because that'll drag people down, and they don't want to just be around somebody who's just constantly negative and having a hard time all the time. But nonetheless, if we can't live in such a way that we can let people see us bleed, if we can let them in at least to a degree into, hey, we're human, hey, we're struggling, hey, we're in this process, then really it's hard to be an effective leader because everybody's got that challenge.
So true. And I know one thing, I think of this story I was reading my son the other day. It was something about a bucket, in the filled bucket of water, and then, you know, there's a leaking bucket. And like oftentimes we go through these times where we tend to suppress and put things, you know, beneath us, and we don't want to release it. But when I think about that bucket, it wasn't until the bucket was seen leaking until it can actually have someone come over and help close that leak. And I think a lot of times we have to just really, you know, instead of
be real.
Be real instead of holding things in.
That's good. You know, as we've gone down this journey and starting a business, this is not something that I've done before. It's not something that I'm an expert at. It's like we're learning as we go. And a lot of people say your first business just will tank and then you try again. And who knows what our journey will look like. But we're trying to just live in a way that's not like pretending like we got it all together, but being real with each other and as we go, just being authentic with the process.
So true.
So let's look at a few different specific tips for how you can begin to develop this kind of what we're calling emotional agility today. The ability to be in touch with your emotions and let that be a part of how you lead and grow your business, and not something that you shut down.
So true.
And so number one is recognize your emotions, which seems pretty simple, but if you're not aware that you've got emotions or aware that what you're feeling is actually what you're feeling, it's going to affect how you're leading, but you're not going to be aware of it. So recognize your emotions.
Recognize them. And I think what are some practical ways to recognize your emotions? Maybe it's waking up in the morning. Before you start anything, you grab a glass of water, you go off into the living room before the kids wake up, before the wife and all that, and you sit down with a notebook and you just literally write whatever's on your heart, write whatever comes to mind, write those things down and begin to just, you know, speak out of your life. You know, what's the truth? Although I'm going through these feelings, these emotional, take yourself back to the truth. And for me, it's spiritually, it's Jesus. It goes back to Jesus for us. But for you guys, I would pray that one day you'll come to Jesus. Come on now. But really, you have to really put things in order, put your ducks in a row.
Absolutely. So recognizing your emotions is absolutely key to being able to begin to navigate emotional agility. And then number 2, we're defining as reappraise your feelings.
Wow.
So this says, let's say you're about to give a presentation and your heart is beating so loud you're sure your neighbor can hear it.
Wow.
Instead of panicking, rename your nervousness as excitement. Did you know that?
Oh,
that
that's
it's
really
pretty crazy.
perspective change.
Yes, that
Yeah.
they have actually done this, where they've interviewed Olympic athletes, and it's like as they're about to engage in whatever
Got
it is,
it.
on the gold medal's on the line,
Woo.
and they're about to jump in and do the thing that they've been training for sometimes their whole entire life. They will ask them, how are you feeling? Or afterwards, let's say, how did you feel before you jumped in?
Got it.
Invariably, they always say, I felt excited.
Really?
And you know what's
Excited.
interesting is oftentimes I think they're probably feeling nervous, but they've trained themselves to reframe and reappraise their emotions of nervousness as excitement, because it really is.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's 2 different
true.
ways of looking at the same thing. Instead of like, what if this goes badly? It's like, what if this is awesome?
What if this is awesome? True.
So being able to say, okay, I'm feeling these feelings,
Yeah.
but let's reframe this as an opportunity.
I love that, because it can be 2 different ways. We stand at the edge of a cliff and we look down from the cliff. One, we can look in fear. I can fall and plummet. But if you have a strap, a parachute on,
Yeah.
you look at it as an opportunity.
opportunity.
So fear can be your friend a lot of times, on one end, but other end, it can also be, an
So
awesome
good
opportunity.
to just reappraise, reframe.
Yeah.
Such a big key. So being in tune, reframing them, and then expanding your emotional vocabulary. So recognizing our emotions is the first step, but it's also important to label them. So this is according to
Call it out.
psychologist. Yes. According to psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett, developing a wider emotional vocabulary can help us to gain a deeper understanding of the situation we're in and deal with our emotions effectively. So we're
Wow.
feeling things, and if we can begin to get some words that begin to help us say that's what's going on here, then we can take a step back and more
Yeah.
rationally from our mindset say like, oh, well, I'm just anxious about this, this, and this, therefore I'm going to approach it this way.
Wow.
But if we're not even aware that we're feeling it and have words for it, it kind of inhibits us. It blocks
So
us
good.
from being a good leader that can begin to address the challenge.
So true, Mark. That is solid. Dude, I'm guilty of hiding some of my, inner, darkest things that I've been struggling with in the past. Like there's times where I tend to want to hide it instead of bringing it out, because
good.
oftentimes I look so, happy and joyful on the outside, but there's areas that I'm wrestling with.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is being transparent and laying it out there.
That's good.
Speaking it, calling it out for what it is, and reaffirming yourself in the truth.
So I want you to just take a moment and just picture this. It's like if you think back to, there's days where there's like a really bloody battle happening, like swords and shields, and it's
Yeah.
like that classic picture you might have in your mind of that battle happening, and you're on the battlefield, you're helping lead the troops, and you get cut and you start to bleed.
Wow.
And now you're pulling back from the battle, and maybe the battle you won the battle, maybe you lost the battle. Either way, if you go and you retreat into the tent
That's
as the
it.
leader and you don't let them see any of the blood that you just
Wow.
bled,
Wow.
and you don't let them see anything that you went through, it's hard for them to relate to you as a good
True.
leader, those that you're
Dang,
leading.
that's so
and so
true.
you don't want to go out there and just bleed all over, everybody's leaning on them and just like getting your stuff all over them. So it's not that degree, but if you can't come to a place where you can let them see what you went through,
Wow.
that you were right there alongside them, you
Wow.
also were challenged, they can't follow you in addressing those same things.
That's so good.
So we got to be a
So
leader
good.
that can let them see us bleed. Even if we don't bleed on them, we got to be able to let them see us bleed.
So good. Come on now. I hope this
I'm gonna start
helps you
preaching
guys.
today. I don't know what's
I'm pumped up. This gotta be ready to face it all.
Oh,
Face
man.
all the emotions.
Oh, that's so good. But
Awesome.
we want to end this podcast, and as we come alongside you as business leaders, help you on every level of your business. Yes, we want to
Yeah.
give you marketing hacks to just actionable steps, but also practically, this is sometimes uncomfortable or we don't talk about it, how to lean in to the inner life as leaders, but that's a huge part of it. And so
Yeah, true.
hopefully this is helpful today. So,
Yes, and we thank you guys for joining in, and I hope we talk about more inward struggles,
More of this
emotional
stuff. Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
that's really fun.
all
So
right.
thank you.
Well,
Mark.
that's it for today, but we'll see you next time.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and visit us at bitesizemarketinghacks.com for more resources and episodes that will help you hack your marketing 5 minutes at a time.